Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dog Trainers Connection. I'm not a dog trainer, but these other people you see here are, and they have a number of years experience in the dog training world and working with dogs. And we get together, we discuss a topic, come up with some thoughts, some answers sometimes, and always have an interesting conversation. So what I want to discuss today is something that's been on my mind all day. As some of our longtime viewers can see, things are a little different today. I'm not on our regular computer, I'm on our laptop. Bonnie is actually on her phone, and that's because of technology. To top it all off, today we had a problem with our website, so technology's been on my mind a lot today. And what I wanted to discuss with you trainers today is technology, but I wanted to discuss it in two different ways. I wanted to discuss it as what has technology done to help you as a dog trainer, and what does it do to help you, to hurt you as a dog trainer? What has it done that is that has not helped your dog training? We started out with dog training very simply, and things are getting more and more complicated every day. So let's just start quickly with what it's done to help, and I'm going to start with Jeff today.
Well, I guess to help dog trainers, or to help dogs, or to help us in our career?
I guess a little of both. Well, no, maybe just to help you in your profession.
I think what helps the most is, well, not the most, but I'll just say things that help me. I can't really gauge them or put them in any kind of ranking order, but reaching more people, helping more people is certainly the biggest advantage, especially, when you're in the business a long time, you develop relationships with your clients, and clients move away. Or in my case, I move away, right? So I left my core geographical area, as did many of my clients over the years. So they still get in touch with me, ask me questions, and with technology, I have the ability to do video chats like this, to stay in contact with them. Social media is great, not just for communicating, but also for exchanging videos and things along those lines to help them with any issues they may be going through. So that's a huge benefit. I guess the other benefit, and it's not really internet-based technology, but I've been doing it for years, the use of videoing interactions with either me with dogs or dogs with dogs. This is nothing new, but it is technically technology that I don't think enough dog trainers take advantage of, because no matter how skilled you are at reading a dog's body language, sometimes things happen very fast and you miss stuff. And it happens. And, so having some video is, and mostly if I'm working with problem dogs, I'm doing basic training. If my timing is off, I pretty much know right then and there my timing's off. If the dog isn't responding to something, I know right there. The dog usually gives me immediate feedback. But if I'm doing, working with aggression or any kind of dog reactivity, sometimes you get a little preoccupied in safety and handling, and you could miss a few things. So having video, evidence, if you will, to look at after the fact is always helpful. It's always been helpful when I do evaluations as well, not just for rescues, but, for legal cases. Obviously, you have to sometimes provide a video of your actual evaluation and interactions with the dogs. The other helpful thing is this is where it's helpful and it can be a challenge, and that is dog owners are more educated nowadays than they used to be. And there is a fine line between being educated and hiring you and not listening to you. Right? Because that's both a pro and a con. Obviously, you got Dr. Google to tell everybody anything they need to know about anything. That's knowledge. Having knowledge is great, but applying that knowledge is a completely different thing. So that could be a challenge when working with private clients. They might be a Cesar Millan fan, and they're expecting the dog trainer they hire to come in there and make funny noises and do certain things, right? Where, if I don't meet those expectations, then, I turn into a little bit of a salesman to say, okay, I get it. That's what you've been exposed to. That's fine. But here's an alternative. Conversely, it could be that they've researched things that were probably applicable for a lot of dogs, but not their dogs. So that could be a challenge as well.
Okay. Yeah. Bonnie, I've got a question for you. We're talking about technology, and we could be talking about computers and this and that and the other thing, but there's been a lot of technology in the dog training world that doesn't involve all of that. How has that been helpful?
I'm not sure exactly.
The different collar, the different all the different technical collars, the thunder vest, all those kind of things. That's technology too, even though it's simple technology.
True, the treat and train.
Mm-hmm. Has that been helpful? I'm saying it is. Has it, or has it hurt it? Has that done something to dog training that hasn't helped it?
Well, I think it's a double-edged sword.
Mm-hmm.
That I think all the technology is really great as far as tools, and we were just talking about that before we came on live, about using a vibration collar with deaf dogs.
Okay.
And I think that, again, it's a double-edged sword because, if we can use technology to train trainers like we do,
and technology is rearing its ugly head yet again. So go ahead.
If we can use technology to train trainers so that they know what they're doing, say when they use a vibration collar, then that's fantastic. And Dog Trainers Connection, when we started out, we only did live events. And when we got online, we were able to reach a lot more people.
Mm-hmm.
And people all over the country, all over the world, which is wonderful. But if, as Jeff said, if someone can Google, they get a deaf dog and they Google vibration collar, and they go in and they buy one that's not really a vibration collar, or they don't know how to use it, how to desensitize the dog to it, how to work with that particular dog, then that's not good. And then to me...
But could that just be a clicker too?
Not with a deaf dog.
Okay. I'm more referring to just in general.
You mean that they that they don't know how to use the clicker?
Yeah. So is a clicker good for technology, or is it a problem? Is it something that we created to make it easier?
It can help if you know how to use it, you know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I used a clicker the other day with my neighbor's dog, that was on a target stick. And while this dog did great with a puzzle toy that I had,
mm-hmm.
being a beagle, I clicked this really soft clicker and he flew back and was afraid of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know, okay, this ain't good for him. And I would need to, I would know everything I've learned. Put tape on the clicker, use a ballpoint pen, just a retractable, a really, really soft click. I learned some of these things from Gary Wilkes.
Mm-hmm.
Sit on it, masking tape on it, if you really want to use it with that dog and desensitize the dog to being afraid of the sound. So
mm-hmm.
that's something that if an owner might not understand and just keep clicking and trying to do a trick or feed the dog, give the dog treats.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be harmful for that dog, making it more anxious. So
mm-hmm.
again, I think it's wonderful. And, these tools are great, but as Jeff said, the Dr. Google thing that owners can do, and trainers too, that don't realize, okay, maybe I'm watching this, but I might need to learn a little bit more from an expert trainer in that particular tool to be able to use it well and effectively, and be thoughtful about it.
Okay.
It's funny, Bonnie, that example you described with the clicker.
Yeah.
That is the exact example I offer to people to describe how a clicker can fall into the positive punishment category. And they all look at me like I'm nuts, because clicker is associated with but I've been around enough anxious dogs and noise sensitive dogs to know that that's why I believe not every tool is for every dog. Just like you said, a clicker could be great for 9 dogs, but for one dog it could be highly invasive and aversive. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and for the average dog owner, they don't know the differences between all of these things. How to make the adjustments, the mechanical skills, which require time. The more time you do all these things, obviously, the more the skill you develop over time.
Exactly, and the more education that you have, and I think probably. I think when dog trainers, I know when we held live events that weren't online, there was a lot of really good communication between the dog trainers. And because it was personal, because, you have that actual talking to the person, you're there with them physically. And I think some of that is missing. I know there are still a lot of live events.
I agree with you. I think a lot of that's the technology. Like people like Jeff, myself, even yourself, all of us, we can turn to the internet if we're unsure about something or trying to get a different idea, and we know we can read all these different things. We know what ideas are just incorrect and one things that might actually work just based on the way dogs learn. We all pretty much understand that. And that's like I work with a lot of clients, and they say, I read on the internet, it says this, it says A, I see B, I see C. What answer is correct? And I often tell them they could all be correct. It's just different ways of approaching it. Some might get there the same amount of time to resolve the problem. Some might take a little longer. And then obviously you got to adjust based on that dog, obviously, what the body language is telling you, what the situation is telling you, what the environment is, etc. And it's like, talk about the technology in terms of like the pet tutor with treat dispensing toys. Those are great, but to talk about, that's a double-edged sword too. It's good. It can help with like separation anxiety and things of that nature, and just so the dog's not so bored, and it keeps them enriched and so forth. But then it could be flipped on its back, on its side, so to speak, in not such a good way, almost giving permission to the owner saying, oh, well, now my dog won't be so bored. So now if I'm at home or if I'm at work for all day, 8 to 12 hours, well, I guess no one really has to go and really spend much time with it. It's preoccupied with a treat dispensing toy.
Exactly.
That's not really quite the way it works. I wouldn't agree with that 100%. So.
Right. Exactly. It's like giving a kid a device so that they have something to do when they're just focused on a computer screen all day.
Exactly. And just
the parents are busy.
And just the way computers work, it says, I got a software bug in my computer. How do you fix it? There might be more than one way to fix it.
Yep.
Some might be quicker than others, but they can all get to the answer you want. Same with dog training. I think is very similar that way.
Has technology made dog training less personal?
No, people make it less personal. Okay.
Can you explain that, Jeff?
If you're not personable and you don't connect with your clients, you're going to have a hard time gaining new business. And there is no more personal of a connection than handler and dog. Okay. So if you can't, that's one thing that no amount of knowledge can help an individual learn how to connect with dogs. That's just experience. And we've all met those people where, if you met them, you like your first, especially dog trainers, you'd be like, hey, are you a dog trainer? Because they just have they just have this connection with dogs or animals in general, when you're just like, wow, like that dog responds remarkably well to you. That some people just have it. I'm sure all of us to a degree have that in us to be able to connect with dogs, but the personal aspect of connecting to clients is one thing, but there is no greater relationship connection than the person to the dog, which I think is paramount to the people-to-people connection.
And I don't know if anybody saw it, but I saw something recently where they said something to the effect of that they've created a technical thing that they can put on the dog where instead of the collar, it's all over the dog, that they're getting signals. So it's exactly kind of what you just were talking about, Jeff. It's more like, okay, if I push this button, this is what the dog will do. And because there's no personal contact between that, it doesn't sound like that's a good thing.
I mean, dogs are social animals. So, I mean, just about everything I believe in is based in that dogs are social animals. I mean, whether it's training or pack integration, people bringing a new dog into the house, or social skills. I mean, it's all based in social stability and progress.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And I think where we come in is, and I think you guys probably see this a lot, somebody will adopt a dog and that dog is attached to the person and listens to the person and gets along with them, but say nobody can come in the house. And then what does that person do? Do they seek out help for that? Because that's, they're enjoying their dog, but, nobody can visit them, or kids can't come in, or their son's friends are getting growled at, or so.
Well, that's where I think, it's good and bad in terms of video. In terms, you could go, okay, well, let me look up the situation you just described, and you go on YouTube, what have you, look up videos on that, and you will find they could be several of them. They're all correct ways of addressing it. But
and then
that environment's a little different. Your dog is different, the same dog. And I've had this with a lot of clients. I tried this thing I saw on YouTube and or whatever. It just didn't work. I wasn't getting results. So I figured I'd hire you and see what I can do. And it's those little subtleties that you make adjustments. They could be doing some things right, but they could be doing some things a little wrong, or their timing's a little off, or just little minute things. Those minute things add up to something that's pretty big in the long run.
And then they might, if they adopted the dog, they might bring it back because they don't hire someone to come in and see if they can help them and make it better. Not that it can always be the right home for the dog, but at least to say, okay, I love this dog. I adopted it. I need to figure this out. I need some help. And hopefully hopefully a trainer can help me.
Right.
It's funny you brought that up, David, because now that I'm uploading more content to my YouTube channel,
right?
Like I'm paranoid. Like I want to make sure I'm uploading stuff that's fairly generic because anything can be taken out of context. Even if you're teaching a dog sit down, come and stay on video with a handful of hot dogs, that I try to make sure that it's generic as possible and applicable to most dogs. But like you said, the internet and technology, you're not going to capture something for all dogs. So
right, but I know you put that disclaimer on some of your videos, which I've seen, that's what you kind of do.
If I'm working with edgy dogs, I absolutely
right.
So folks, we're coming to the end of this, and it sounds like as our missing panelist, or one of our missing panelists, Steve, always says, it's complicated. But what I want to ask to finish this is, it sounds to me like there is a lack of, well, I guess that's exactly what I was going to say, a lack of a personal touch that is being lost on the dog training world because of a lot of the technology that's going on now. So what can you guys do to help change that?
Well,
change that it's going more impersonal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing.
And that sounds like a plan right there.
Yeah, and that's what I agree. And the only thing I would say is kind of put that little disclaimer up front when I talk to my clients. A lot of times I'll point them in the right direction. Say, look at the video, look at this video, but don't take it at its at its face value.
Sure.
Sometimes you have to make some adjustments and minute things. So it's not going to be exactly cut and dry, but it should give you at least a good general idea as to how to go approach the situation.
And Bonnie, you got the last word on this.
Well, I just wanted to give a plug for Jeff Coltonback's YouTube channel, which is great. I've seen some of the videos.
I promise to get better. I'm still a novice with the editing, but I'll get better.
They're great. And so check it out, folks.
Okay.
What is the name of the channel, Jeff?
We'll have to put a link in when you post this because it's one of those long YouTube things. I didn't change.
Okay.
I didn't do a custom URL yet.
There we're back. Technology.
There we go. That sounds like technology right there.
Yeah. The problem is that I have 2 YouTube channels that I didn't know about, and the one is from like a long time ago,
right.
And it's Jeff Coltonback, but there's nothing on there valid for what I'm posting now. So
there you go. So okay.
But we'll post that link.
So
that's my last word.
Okay.
And that we're going to try to do some live workshops again to bring some trainers together, and that's nice. What I'm hoping. Yep.
All right. So with that, I'd like to thank you all for being here. I'd like to thank you all for watching today, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot now.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye. Thanks.